Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of Weather Impact 101. This week we're talking about the often mentioned but seldom understood phenomena called El Niño and La Niña. We're going to talk about how these form and what they mean for our weather here in Central Texas. Now, to talk about El Niño and La Niña, we first have to talk about what are called the trade winds. Now, the trade winds are a semi-permanent band of winds that blow from east to west right around the equator. Now, they're called the trade winds because sailors back in the days of sail would use these winds to propel them from Europe to the New World to buy and trade goods. Now, these trade winds also help to move warmer waters from the equatorial Pacific towards the west. Now, this helps regulate sea surface temperatures through a process called upwelling. Now, in an El Niño year, what happens is sometimes those trade winds will slow down and even reverse direction. So as this happens, this causes warmer than average sea surface temperatures in the equatorial Pacific and in fact pushes those warmer waters towards the coast of South America. This, in fact, is how El Niño got its name. Fishermen in Peru noticed that as these warmer waters were occurring in certain years, the fish were more and more sparse. So, of course, since this happened during the holiday season, they named it El Niño after the Christ child. So, how does all of this affect us here in Central Texas? Well, in order to talk about that, we have to talk about jet streams. We have the subtropical jet stream, and we have the polar jet stream. Now, in an El Niño year, the warmer waters of the Pacific can affect our subtropical jet stream, pushing it further to the south. You can see here moving right over the southern United States and Texas. So since these act as conveyor belts which bring weather systems, that means we get more of these weather systems in an El Niño winter, and that makes for more rain and wetter than usual winter season. So that's an El Niño. What about a La Niña? Well, La Niña is the exact opposite. And in a La Niña year, what happens is those trade winds actually speed up, pushing more of that warm water back towards Asia. That creates cooler than average sea surface temperatures in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Much like El Niño, this can impact our jet streams, but in this case, what's going to happen is it's actually going to push those jet streams further to the north. So now our conveyor belt is well away from Texas and the southern United States. So what happens is we end up with drier and warmer than average winter seasons. So how often do these occur? Well, it's hard to answer that question. So with this, we have to remember it's a cycle. What happens is we go from El Niño back to normal, back to a La Niña, and back to normal. We can't say with any certainty that these are going to occur every X number of years. Now, as a general rule, we can say they're going to occur roughly every 7 years, but again, this is an irregular cycle, so we cannot say with any certainty when an El Niño or a La Niña is going to pop up, but our rule of thumb is roughly once every 7 years or so. At the time of this filming, it's October 1st, 2024. We're sitting currently at a 71% chance of a La Niña forming throughout the winter. We've already seen several weeks this fall of above average temperatures, and with La Niña expected to form, this pattern could last well into 2025. Well, that does it for this installment of Weather Impact 101. In our next installment, Whitney Huddleston will be talking about all the different types of clouds that you can see. For now, this is Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell for 6 News.